Recorder, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. I want to first start by thanking the school district for giving this great space to us to have. When I look around an auditorium like this, I kind of get flashbacks to about 20 years of sitting in drama performances with my kids. So I apologize if I feel sleepy or look sleepy, so I'll try to stay alert. But I seriously think we're going to have a vibrant, exciting debate here tonight. So I also want to thank both campaigns. This was something that we put together last minute, and I really credit both campaigns for making it happen. We all of us had to sort of tug and pull and figure out and make some compromises and concessions. So especially thank you to the campaign, Cindy Fabozzi, for being really easy to work with, and also for Vinny Arbige, for just helping out with it. So thank you for both of that. Before I go too much farther, I just want to tell a quick story about something that happened to me on Friday. I was driving home from work after a day at the newsroom, and I was in the car, and a good friend of mine called. He's a journalist who covers politics and government in New York State, New York City, Albany, and sometimes Washington. And so we were just talking about some of the stuff that I've been doing and he's been doing. And at some point he said, "Hey, how did that debate in Schenectady go recently? You hosted a debate and you moderated it. How did it go?" I said it was really good. It was a really good discussion, a lot of vibrant exchange. Some of the candidates had different views, and there was at times some tension, but it was a great forum. And I think the voters ultimately got a great sense of kind of how both parties stand in things. And I told him I thought it was a really good event. And I said, and actually, now that you ask, we have another debate next week in Amsterdam. And out of the blue, he said to me, "Oh, Mike versus Mike." And I thought to myself, how does he even know this? And then I realized I think I might be the last person within 50 miles of Amsterdam to realize that this is Mike versus Mike. So I want to introduce you tonight to Mike versus Mike, the debate.
Well done. Ready?
But seriously, one last introduction. Across the stage from me, I just want to quickly introduce our panelists, two great guys here. On the left, my colleague at the Recorder, our political reporter, general reporter, Tyler McNeil. And next to him, if you close your eyes and you hear him talk, you're going to know who he is. Not quite as recognizable by his face, although he does have a lovely haircut tonight. From WGY, the morning host, Doug Gowdy. Thank you so much for being here, Doug. And then finally, before we introduce the candidates, I just want to quickly go over the rules. They're very simple. So this is going to be an hour-long debate. We'll go up to an hour and 15 minutes if warranted, and if the discussion is going well and there are plenty of questions and answers, we'll decide as we go. To start with, each of the candidates have opening statements. They both will have 2 minutes. Once they've both done their opening statements, then we'll jump into questions from our panelists. Once the question is asked by the panelists, the candidates have 60 seconds to respond. We go back and forth and back and forth. I'll make it clear to them who's up and who gets to take the next answer. During the debate, there is no formal arrangement for rebuttals in case they want to respond to something specific that was said. But if the candidates alert me and request a rebuttal, I will grant one if it's warranted. We want to try to keep the thing going. So we'll see how that goes when it's going. But we do want some back and forth. And the rebuttals could also be used for back and forth with the panelists too, if that's necessary. Finally, at the last portion of the debate, the last round will be called the lightning round, and it's when the panelists ask some lighter questions that are designed to elicit quick responses, one sentence, one word, whatever you want, and we'll move through those fairly quickly, and those can be pretty entertaining, I think. So, and then finally, we just go to the closing statements, and again, they have 2 minutes to do that. So finally, I will introduce the candidates one more time. And for the openings, based on the coin toss that we did ahead of time, candidate Arbige will be the first opener, and Cinquanti will be follow-up. So, Pastor Arbige, go ahead with your introduction, please.
All right. Thank you. Well, it was really good to be here, and truly, thank you all for putting this together. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, as well. And thank you all for coming. I'm really excited to be here, and hope this will be a wonderful, wonderful night. So my name is Michael Arbige, and it does rhyme with garbage. I've heard that so many times growing up, so I just kind of lean into it now, all right? But I am, as I always tell people, the four most important things about me. Number one, I'm a Christian. Number two, I'm a husband. Number three, I'm a father. And number four, I'm a pastor. And these are the four most important things about me. And I happen to, as all of those things, also be running for mayor of Amsterdam this year. So I've lived in Amsterdam for my entire life. And I've seen pretty much for my entire life Amsterdam be a city in decline. And it really bothers me. It truly, truly angers me sometimes. And when I look around what's going on these past few years, I've been angered by a lot of things. I've been angered by increases in spending. I've been angered by increases in taxes. I've been angered by the golf course, and I'm sure we'll get into a lot of these things in the course of tonight. But I've been angered by a lot of things. And quite honestly, I am sick of the same types of people being asked to solve the problems. I honestly think that we could use someone like a pastor, someone, not just lawyers and business people and bankers. We could use some average, everyday people to run for office with average, everyday ideas, and people who, again, understand the city or from the city. I know my opponent is as well. But that's basically why I'm running. Because I think as a Christian husband, father, and pastor, lifelong resident of Amsterdam, I think I have a lot of good ideas, a lot of good experience to really help govern this city and move it forward. And I'm so excited again to be here tonight with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, Mayor Cinquanti.
Thank you. I'm Mayor Mike Cinquanti, and I've lived here all my life. I want to thank, first of all, the recorder for hosting this. I want to thank the Greater Amsterdam School District for hosting this, and the recorder for organizing this, and gentlemen, for you playing a part in this. Mr. Arbige for showing up and coming here to debate this evening. I'm a lifelong resident of Amsterdam. I am married to a girl named Rosemary. We've been married for 47 years. We've raised 4 children here. I have 7 grandchildren. My family is my life. They are what inspire me, and I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed. My career for 35 years, I ran a company called Jennings, which is technical publishing spinoff of General Electric Company. And I ran that for 35 years. It was very successful. We were very fortunate. We worked very hard. It gave us a good life. And we're blessed for that as well. The biggest difference between my opponent and myself is I've been mayor of Amsterdam for 4 years. And he's angered, but I will tell you that I'm not. I am very, very happy with the record that we've established as 4 years as mayor. We have turned the deficit situation around from being 8.3 million in debt to being 3.5 million in surplus. We have gone from being the most fiscally distressed city in New York State to being one of the least fiscally distressed cities in New York State. We have remediated blight at a rate that no other mayor has done in a 3-year period of time. We have paved more roads. When I became mayor, there was no bus network in the city. Now we have CDTA. You can be angry or you can be happy, and I'm happy because we've done a great job. And I'm ready to talk to you about that tonight. Thank you very much.
We're going to be able to talk about some of that stuff he just said, right?
Indeed.
All right, good.
So to start the questions, we're going to go first to my colleague, Tyler McNeil.
What needs to be done to control speeding in the city of Amsterdam?
Mayor Mayor Cinquanti, 60 seconds.
Absolutely. Well, we work very hard at controlling speeding in Amsterdam. There are situations where, we go out, we've had 5 neighborhood meetings thus far with citizens, and one of the biggest complaints is that there is speeding that's taking place. But we work very hard to control that. And one of the things that we're doing is we're putting together a grant application, where we're going to invest in certain traffic signals, stop signs that light up with solar power energy. And we are going to take the hottest spots in the city, and we're going to put better stop signage there. And hopefully that'll take place in the next year or so.
Thank you very much, Pastor Arbige, 60 seconds.
All right. Yeah, that's a huge issue. In fact, all of our ordinances need to be enforced better, because every time I go around and talk to people, speeding is one of the first things they talk about, the sound ordinances, even code enforcement type things. A lot of things need to be enforced better. And I do agree with the mayor about more stop signs. I've been saying that for a long time. We definitely need more stop signs. And we need to make sure the police are writing speeding tickets. We should have police present more at certain spots that we know are hot spots for speeding. But absolutely, that's a huge issue. We just need to make people know we're going to enforce this better. We're going to put more stop signs up. If you speed, you're going to get a ticket. And if you play your music too loud, you're going to get a ticket. And if you're not cutting your grass, you're going to get eventually a fine after a warning. But we got to enforce our ordinances. That's a huge issue. This is a small city. That's a small city issue, something we absolutely need to and will take care of.
Thank you very much.
And all of those things are happening now. I don't want the public to walk away with the idea that our police are not enforcing the ordinances, that our code inspectors are not doing their jobs. They're doing a great job. So I just don't want that to go.
They could do better.
Thank you. Next question from Doug Gowdy, and this one goes first to Pastor Arbige.
Gentlemen, thank you. One of the big stories out of Amsterdam that we talked about on WGY this year was the shootings in the Veterans Park this summer. Obviously unacceptable. Obviously could have been even worse than they were. Innocent bystanders could have been killed. Number one, who's to blame most for what happened, especially with the second shooting? Number two, Pastor, what steps would you take to ensure that something like that does not happen next summer?
Yeah, absolutely. So crime is probably the most fundamental issue there is. If you don't feel safe, then it doesn't matter what else is going on. So whenever we have a big event, we need to have police there. And we've had multiple big events without police this year, and that just is unacceptable. I mean, that's just common sense. And we need to patrol these parks and places more. I know for a fact that Veterans Field was patrolled about once per day during the summer by the police. I don't know about you, but I don't think that's enough in the summertime when a lot's going on and kids are there and people are home to patrol it once a day. We should be doing rolling patrols, change the times each day so no one knows when you're going to be there. And as far as crime goes too, this is so important. We need to make sure we're supporting our police because they do a great job by and large, and they need to be supported because if they're feeling more supported, then they will be able to be more comfortable to do their job. But if they don't feel supported, then sometimes they're afraid to do their job. And that's a big issue. So we need to support the police as well.
Thank you, Pastor. Mayor?
Those 2 incidents that you referred to at Veterans Park were isolated incidents, and they were very tragic. And what we are doing to combat those is we are putting more patrols at Veterans Park. We are, the people who decide how many police are going to be at the events are the police themselves, and they base it on the history of the event. And there's 2 incidents that we had this summer, both the basketball tournament and a cinema for children. There has never been a violent incident in either one of those types of events, and it happened. And now that it's happened, we are on top of it. What we've done, we are soon going to have the entire park videoed. We're installing video cameras. We're very close to getting that done. We have the police are not doing once a day checks. Whenever there's an event, they go there regularly. And if you talk to the police in Amsterdam, if you talk to the chiefs, the lieutenants, and most of the people on patrol, they will tell you they've never had a mayor who supported the police and fire department as much as I have. I stay in my lane when it comes to patrol, when it comes to police enforcement, and I have 2 of the very best chiefs going on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So
Thank you very much. So, next question is back to Tyler McNeil.
If elected or re-elected, will Amsterdam have a new golf clubhouse in 2024?
Mr. Mayor, you have 60 seconds.
They won't have a new clubhouse in 2024, but what they will have is they'll have a wonderful place, an outdoor venue to begin with. But there is a plan in place. We're going out for an RFQ in the next couple of weeks, which will detail what we would like done at the golf course, and we're looking for developers and engineers who can put together that plan. There will not be a completed clubhouse at the golf course next year. There is a pavilion which serves as a clubhouse. The golf course is in the best condition it's been in years, and they can get a wonderful golfing experience at the golf course, but we will solve the golf course clubhouse issue in the next 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pastor, you have 60 seconds.
Yeah, well, let's just be clear. We should have a completed clubhouse right now, and we would have, if not for my opponent right here. Okay, he basically single-handedly destroyed the golf course. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows, golf course clubhouse damage. Everything was ready to be rebuilt. All the contracts were handed out. Some work had even started. But do we continue the work? No, we don't. Instead, after doing some work, we pay a few $100,000 to get out of the contracts. We sell the property. We don't put out to bid, though. God forbid we do that. We sell it, and now we have a big hole in the ground, and the money that was used or could have been used from the insurance to rebuild it is not there anymore. And so we should have a completed clubhouse right now. This city, this golf course, a beautiful golf course, a gem in this area, deserves a good clubhouse. And so, honestly, it's disgraceful that in 2024 we will not have a completed clubhouse.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Thank you.
And when I became mayor, there was no clubhouse. The clubhouse had been destroyed by a flood. It had been gutted without the authorization of the insurance company by city workers who went in there. We decided to go into the restaurant business. The first meeting I had as mayor was with the New York State Controller, and they said to me, they asked me one question: when are you going to sell, lease, or close the clubhouse? It's your biggest problem. So there is no clubhouse. It was not in the best condition it ever. It was in terrible condition. We made a bad decision from start to finish to go into the restaurant business in the first place. It was nothing but a quagmire of problems. And people who have never played golf or never understood the conversation of what was going on there have no idea what they're talking about.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, go ahead. And we did not spend the money. The money that we used the money was paid off the debt. So we did not waste the money.
You took the money that was supposed to be used to rebuild the clubhouse.
And we paid off the debt. And we paid off debt. So if we need to do something, we can borrow it again without raising the debt. Is that correct?
Do I get to talk eventually? Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, no, I'm well aware of the timeline of when the clubhouse was, damaged. I know you weren't mayor yet, but I'm also well aware that when you were mayor, the clubhouse was in the process of being rebuilt. There was plenty of money to do it.
No, there
insurance money. Why was there not plenty of money to do it?
It was underestimated by at least $400,000. The plans that were submitted to rebuild the clubhouse were insufficient.
Okay.
They were insufficient. Thank you, John. We're going to move on to the next question. My engineers and the people that works for the clubhouse.
Okay.
People who know what they're talking about.
People who are talking about.
Thank you,
All right,
John.
well, I guess people know what they're talking about. All right. There's a big hole, $500,000 hole right now at Amsterdam Muni.
The hole will be filled. The hole will be filled.
We're back to Doug with a question.
Well, I guess just quick, are you saying, Mr. Mayor, by 2025, there will be a clubhouse that these guys will be proud of? This will be put to bed?
That's right.
Pastor, if you're
We should
mayor,
have one right now, let's just be honest.
when will it be if you're elected? When will you have it done?
What?
When will you have it done if elected?
As soon as possible, but again, I shouldn't have to even answer this question. It should be right now a completed, functioning clubhouse.
What are you running for?
This is absurd. Well, I would not have put a hole in the clubhouse. That's the thing. I wouldn't have done that.
Thank you. Doug, was that your question?
No, let's talk migrants for a second. WGY obviously has been talking about this for all summer. You guys had a situation very close to what Rotterdam is dealing with now. If not for 3 hotel owners declining and doing it because they're apparently good citizens, you would have a big problem on your hands. So let's assume for a second that was a blind spot. Has that been cleared up now, Mr. Mayor? And is there no threat of something like that happening again? How are you going to do that going forward?
Let's stay in order. This first goes to Pastor.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not the mayor, so I don't know if everything's, as far as that goes at this exact moment, but as far as, first of all, why do we call them migrants? Okay, they're illegal immigrants. Okay, we can change the title or change the name, but that's not what they are. They're illegal immigrants. And I said this a few months ago, and I challenged my opponent to just simply say, it's 5 words, they're very easy. I even have flashcards when my mic talks. I am against illegal immigration. I asked him to say that, and he wouldn't say it. So maybe you'll say it tonight if you're against illegal immigration or not. I don't know if you'll say it. But here's the thing, like, I'm mayor for Amsterdam, okay? I'm mayor for the people of Amsterdam, not for someone else's people. When I'm mayor, we're going to protect our people. We're not here for migrants or what do you want to call them. We're here for the people of Amsterdam. Crime is going through the roof in this city. People are trying to find jobs, and we're worried about trying to bring in more people. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. This is what leftists do, though. This is what leftists do.
Thank you, Pastor. Mayor Cinquanti. Mayor Cinquanti. You have 60 seconds.
The pastor is a fear monger. The pastor likes to use wedges to inflame emotions to get votes. We don't have a problem here with illegal immigration in Amsterdam because we have 3 businesses that have told us and promised us that they are not going to accept illegal immigration the way that happened in Rotterdam. That's good enough for me. But we will, if that changes, we will be prepared for that situation. But I don't expect it to change.
And what should the policy be with that?
The policy should be that no immigration should be sent to a city unless that city has been forewarned, understood how many are coming, understood what conditions they're going to be in, so that we can prepare for them. Thank you, Mayor. And have the right to say we can or cannot handle them.
Right. So when I'm there, the answer will be no. They are not coming to Amsterdam.
Well, that's
the correct answer. The answer is not, well, we got to be ready for them to come. The answer is no, they will not come because we take care of our people, not someone else's people. That's the right answer.
who are our people? Who are our
People
people?
who live in Amsterdam, the citizens of Amsterdam. That's
What about the people who move into Amsterdam who aren't illegal immigrants?
And now they're citizens of Amsterdam, and that's fine. That's how, what do you mean? What kind of a question is that? A citizen of Amsterdam is our people.
Thank you. Let's go on to the next question. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. So the next question is from Tyler.
Can I follow up on that?
One quick follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, the Reverend talked about the 399 West Main Street project as being a haven for illegal immigration, for illegal immigrants to live. When in fact, it's against the law. The people who are building that project have to, by law, for 40 years, guarantee that no illegal immigrant, no undocumented immigrant, no amnesty seeker will be permitted to live in that apartment. But yet he inflames the passions of that neighborhood by insisting it's going to become a haven for that. And that's not what we're about here in Amsterdam. We do not divide, we unite. And the way we lead is to unite, not divide.
By shoving something down their throats they don't want. Okay, that everyone lives there, does not want this, and you would inflame their passion. Okay.
Five neighborhood meetings and you weren't at one of them.
Okay.
That's not what
Okay, I talked to every neighborhood member who was against that
All right.
project.
Yep, we're going to move on to the next one. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's not what they say.
Stuff up.
Yep.
That's not what who said.
We got a lot of good questions going.
The people who
If you want to follow up on this issue, you've got to call Doug in the morning, so. So next up is Tyler McNeil.
Say you do become, you either get another term as mayor or you become the new mayor. Do you plan to seek any other public office after that?
Me? Is this
Yeah,
my motion?
Mayor, 60 seconds.
I ran for mayor because I love Amsterdam. I ran for mayor because I'm a problem solver. We have solved a lot of problems. In 4.5 years. I had no intention of running for anything other than mayor of Amsterdam this time around because you know why? We've got more problems to solve. I've proven I can solve them. Give me some more time. We'll get your clubhouse, Bill, I promise you. And it'll be the best clubhouse in the area. But I have no aspirations. I run for the city's office
because I'm concerned about the issues that are impacting our city and the people who live here. And that's what I've worked at for 3 years, and that's what I'm doing. I would never run for another office. I have no political aspirations.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up, Pastor Arbige.
Yeah, no, the answer is absolutely not. I will never run for anything ever again. I ran for something last year, and it was an interesting experience, and I was content to never run for anything again last year. But as it turns out, there was no one to run against our current mayor, who has not done a very good job. And he'll tell you he's done a good job, and I hope we get some questions about some of the things he said in his opening statement, because he's great at taking credit for things he had nothing to do with, but he's not very good about taking responsibility for things he should. So we'll get to that. But no, I want to be mayor of Amsterdam, and that is it.
Thank you, Pastor. Moving on to Doug, question going to...
Well, Pastor, let's talk about what he brought up. Do you acknowledge the fiscal stability of this city right now, and do you not give him credit for any of that?
I acknowledge it, and I give him zero credit for it because he had nothing to do with it. Let's talk about why we're in a better position fiscally. So we're in a better position fiscally because the former controller's office, who for some reason you hate, I don't know why, he's a great controller, but former controller, his office, specifically Casey Kanowski, okay, solved the capital projects issue, capital project reconciliation, saved $8 million for the city right there. So that wipes away the $8 million deficit, okay? And then we get money, and every year it's going up from the sales tax that Montgomery County takes in. We get a cut of that, and that continues to skyrocket. I don't think you have anything to do with that. And then also, we get a lot of money from the ambulances. So unless you're out there making people sick, I don't know, maybe, but we get a lot of money from that. So I don't know what. Could you point to one thing you have done to make this city more fiscally stable? I know you've spent a lot of money, so we should even have a greater surplus than we have. But you cannot point to one thing you.
Thank you, Pastor Arbige. Thank you. Mayor Cinquanti,
Absolutely. Again, I don't know where you're getting your information from, but in my first month of meetings with the controller of Amsterdam, New York, I came to the conclusion that it was a lack of ability by the controller's office to understand how to get us out of debt, to understand how we got into debt in the first place. It was evident to me. And so literally, when you say that I had nothing to do with it, one of the things we did was we got a proposition passed to change the form of government so that no longer can a controller enter the office who doesn't have qualifications to do the job. So now we have a qualified, credentialed CPA controller. Now, I don't know, they can explain away, they can explain away the fact that why wasn't the 8 million or 4 million or whatever number you want to make up wasn't reconciled in the first place, but it wasn't, and I wasn't there when that happened. Who permitted it? Who did they ask? Can they do it? They asked me, and I gave them permission to do that. I'm sorry. I was the one who...
Thank you, Mayor. Your time is up. Thank you. Rebuttal, quick, 15 seconds.
Okay, yeah. First of all, the proposition, that's a terrible idea, okay? Because, no, our country is based on separation of powers, okay? We need a controller that is for the people, okay, not beholden to the mayor, all right? But you don't like that. You want to control everything.
Thank you, Pastor Arbige. Thank you. You have 15 seconds.
Not beholden to the mayor. We need a controller who knows what they're doing. And that's what we need. And we had one who was not qualified for the job. And I don't want to bring him into this personally, but in the future, that will not happen again. If you don't think that's a big plus for this city, then I don't know what you're running for.
Thank you very much. We're done with this question. We're going to move on to the next one. So you have your closings if you wish to get into it. Tyler, it's back to you.
Has the Hochul administration been good to Amsterdam?
Mayor Cinquanti, this is first with you, 60 seconds.
One of the things is I'm mayor of the city of New York State, and the governor of my state is Kathy Hochul. And because she's the governor, I respect her office. And what my opponent did the other day in one of his talks was say he would never get his picture taken with Kathy Hochul. And I'm saying to myself, I'm saying to myself, how can an adult human being who's the mayor of a city in New York State refuse to get their picture taken with the governor of that state? How immature and childish is that? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? The governor of New York State is the person who just got us $2 million to knock down 5 corners. She's the person who gets us Restore New York money. She's the person who, she's done a lot for our city. And I'm never going to respect an official in an office that way that my opponent did.
Thank you, Mayor. Pastor Arbige, 60 seconds.
Yeah, the answer to that question is Kathy Hochul has not been good for any city in the state of New York, okay? So if you love Kathy Hochul in here, then here's your guy, okay? And, okay, it's my turn. It's my turn to talk, okay? See that time? All right, anyway. So if you love Kathy Hochul, he's your guy. If you, like me, think Kathy Hochul's probably the worst governor in America, then I'm your guy, okay? Now, but I do have to go back to what was said before, because you'll notice that in his previous answer, when I challenged him, what have you done to put us into a surplus? He did not answer the question, because he knows he's done nothing. Literally, the timekeeper could have been mayor. We'd still have, we have a bigger surplus, because we would not be spending so much money. You have doubled the amount of spending the last 2 years that even New York State has gone up by. That is crazy. That is crazy. Okay, in the last 2 years, our city has gone up the budget by 19%. New York State, which is like crazy spend happy, has gone up by 10%. How do you justify that?
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor. Yep. He keeps talking about 19%. $1.3 million, $1.3 million of the increased spending you're talking about, we are spending we have an 18-mile pipeline that feeds the water to our city. It gives us 24 hours worth of water to use. Once we use 24 hours of water, those tanks got to fill back up. If anything happens to that 150-year-old pipeline, we are out of water in a day. How long has it been? It's been years and years and years. We kicked the can down the road. We're spending $1.3 million, the reason we're doing this, and the reason we're not borrowing it or doing anything else, to fix that, to GPS that pipeline, so that if the break occurs, a lot of it's underground, a lot of it's hidden from view. We don't know where a lot of it is. So we're finding out where every inch is, so we can reach any spot in that pipeline within 24 hours, fix it, and restore the water flow. That's so you have drinking water. That's why we're spending $1.3 million more.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Pastor, one more word on this.
Spending has gone up by $6.3 million in the last 2 years. That's only 1.3 of it. So where are the other $5 million? What's that for?
$43 million worth of aid from outside.
No, this has nothing to do with the budget. This is crazy. Okay. No,
Because we're spending.
this is not the spending increase.
We're spending money that we have instead of spending money that we don't have, which is happening under the previous administration and your old controller.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you very much, Jim.
It just keeps going up and up.
The answer is
I have a
you have to take
question.
care of your city.
You know, in that budget, $470,000 taken from the water. By the way, we better talk about water. That's the most important answer.
Hey, thank you very much. Guys, wait 1 second. So I just need to pause. I need to talk to my colleague, Jim. We have a checklist every year that we do these debates, and we need to add boxing gloves. So just kidding. So let's move on to the next question from Doug.
Speaking of Governor Hochul, one thing, whatever you think of her, the rollout for marijuana in this state has been horrible. Some states are raking in a lot of money. Some cities, I should say, other cities aren't sure where they want to go with this. Other cities are pushing it off. Whatever you think of marijuana, it is here. 2 years from now, how many marijuana dispensaries, if you had your way, would Amsterdam have, if any? Start with you, Pastor.
Oh, there'd be zero if I had my way. I don't know why we think drugs is a good thing, and if you think we're going to make money by selling drugs to people, that's a terrible idea. In the long run, it costs you money because people end up ruining their lives on this stuff. So the correct answer is zero. If I had my way, which I know I probably won't, but if I did, that's the answer.
Mayor Cinquanti.
I do not agree that there should be none. I do agree that we should have them if they do not operate here. People who want marijuana will go into other communities and buy it there. I believe it's best to have it regulated, best to make sure who we sell it to, best to make sure it's not misused by people. There are now laws and rules about it versus buying it on the street, and it will generate income for our city. I think we should have as many as we can manage properly and in our use, and that's my answer.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Tyler, it's back to you.
Kind of want to harken back to another issue that we discussed briefly before, but so the golf course is struggling. Yeah, we're back. We're back. The golf course is struggling to break even. How do you plan to increase revenue while also keeping members happy?
Mayor, this is 60 seconds for you.
We're trying a new model this year. Our revenues were up 7.3% this year on golf, and we are trying a new model where our challenge is to sell the best times available for golf at the course at a price, at a good price. So we are trying new models to generate more income. Can we do it and keep members happy? We're trying. We're trying to do that. But the bottom line is we've hired new staff at the golf course, new management at the golf course, running it professionally, and they've presented plans to our golf commission, which have been approved by the council, which we are trying to generate revenue. So far, it's working. We generated 7.3% more in play this past year without the clubhouse than we did the year before.
Thank you, Mayor. Pastor?
I mean, imagine how much more we could generate with a clubhouse, right? But if you want anything, especially golf, and I'm a golfer also, and you want to have young people golf. You got young people there. And I was at the meeting with the golf commission members probably a month and a half ago now, I don't know. And the ideas that you guys are proposing are just insane. What you want to do with the members costing us so much more, and the $500 thing, pay $500 just to now have the right to then pay $10 every time you play, or $15, whatever it is, every time you play. No young person is going to do it. There are so many deals out there, groupgolfer.com, Groupons, so many twilight deals at different courses that are way better than that. And no one my age or younger is going to do that. And so if you want to improve the amount of people who play and make more money, you got to do something that's going to work for young people, young golfers. Not that. Definitely don't do that.
That's your answer to everything.
You have a clubhouse. No.
Not that. Not that.
Yes. Well,
Give
that.
us an answer.
You know, it's not a bad answer.
We're
with you
trying.
A lot of times.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We're back to Doug.
So let's talk crime, because it's one of the top two polled issues throughout the state in every community. Bail reform, raise the age, halt within our correctional facilities. Pastor, if you are elected mayor, give me your top 3 crime prevention priorities.
Yeah, well, like I said, crime is obviously probably the number one issue. And we live in a state that is soft on crime. We have bail reform. So we need to be tough on crime here in Amsterdam. And so that's what we need to do. We need to, as I said before, write the tickets for the ordinances, whether it be parking, speeding, sounds, code enforcement. You start off right there before crimes become bigger. So start writing tickets. Actually listen to people, because all I know is I go around and talk to people all over the city, and every single place I go, every single street I'm on, every single neighborhood I'm in, they tell me about all the things going on in their area, in their neighborhoods, and sometimes they call the police. Things don't seem to happen. The police need to enforce the law better, enforce these things, and we need to be working with the police. Like I said, supporting the police, that's the biggest thing. Because if they feel supported, then they will know they can go out and do their job. But if they don't feel supported, and I know you think everyone loves you, but I'm telling you, not everybody loves you, okay? And they don't always feel supported. We need to support our
Time is up. Thank you.
Again, I don't know who you talk to. They're different than the people I talk to. You know, those people you talk to, you talk to the chiefs, you talk to the leaders of the department, you talk to any patrolman you want to talk to, and they will tell you that I am a big supporter of the police department and law and order. There's no question at all. One of the things that really bugs me is we go out to the neighborhoods regularly. We do neighborhood meetings, and one of the comments always made is, noise ordinance and speed control. control. It is a problem. There's no question about it. You know why it's a problem? Because they are the toughest things to catch. You have to catch people in the act. So we bring statistics with us that show us the attempts we're making at stopping those offenses. And when we explain that to the people, they understand better, they start calling more, and we start figuring out trends, and we start ticketing people for these things. You cannot just go out and say, this is a problem. You've got to figure out the solution, and that's what we try to do all the time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so I'm going to go to basics with this one. Name something you've been able to accomplish with somebody that you've strongly disagreed with.
Mayor, to you first.
Name something I've been able to accomplish with someone I strongly disagree with. Okay. Name something. I'm trying. I'm not a disagreeable person. That's my biggest problem. When I sit down with people, the first thing I try to do, instead of telling them what I don't like about them, I try to find something I do like about them, and I don't have that kind of problem. I've had people, I've sat down with the former controller of the city of Amsterdam, and we've done good things. And he didn't like me, he didn't trust me, but we've done good things. So I guess the answer to that question is, well, the first thing I try to do is, understand, put myself in that person's shoes and ask them to get in my shoes, and we talk to each other. So I get people to do a lot of things that they don't want to do by being nice to them, by talking to them, by making them understand what the problem is, and by working with them to come up with solutions. I do that all the time. That's my goal.
Thank you very much. Pastor Arbige?
Well, we don't agree, but we got this debate together, right? So that's good. But, as a pastor, I have to talk to people all the time who I don't agree with. In fact, a lot of times that's why they're talking to me, because they have an issue and they need some help, and I counsel people all the time, free of charge, by the way, if anybody needs counseling. But usually they're doing something that is wrong, or they're doing something that I would not do and I would not agree with, and I'm trying to get them to realize, okay, you got to make a little change here, a little change here. And a lot of times it's very, very successful. Not always, because look, people are people. We all have our flaws. We all need God's grace every single day, that's for sure. But I definitely try to be agreeable as well, and I think you all realize that tonight, right? Just how agreeable I am all the time, right? But that's the best you can do, is you try to work with people, and whether you agree or disagree, you do the best you can, and I think we'll both probably say the same thing about that in the end.
Thank you very much, Pastor. I'm going to take a 10-second break here to give you some water. You guys are working. When you're ready, Doug.
Green energy costs are going up. Projections are not near what they had told us they would be statewide. The governor is talking about a gas stove ban starting in 2026. I don't think the crowd likes that too much. I know my listeners don't like that either. Tell me what you like about green energy policy here in New York, and tell me what you don't like.
Pastor
Start
Arbige.
with you, Pastor.
Yeah, I don't really like too much about green energy policy personally. I'm not against green energy if it can work, and if we have the science and technology and we can figure things out, then that's great. But all I know is that right now that's not the case, and we need to use the things we've always used, gas and oil and natural gas and coal, all these things which we can do much cleaner than anyone else can do anyway. But I don't really understand how this question is for us in Amsterdam. It seems more like a national question, personally.
Well, are you planning on driving an electric car in 3 years?
No, I'm not. I'm not planning to drive an electric car. Now, look, I think we should be obviously recycling and taking care of our environment, taking care of our parks and all that, which I do personally, and we should do that. But as far as this green energy craze, I don't understand why this is such a craze. It's pretty crazy, but,
Thank you, Pastor. Mayor, you have 60 seconds.
Yeah, I do believe that there's global warming. I do believe it's caused by man. I do believe that, that we have a responsibility to do whatever we can to protect our environment. And I would certainly drive an electric car. And I intend to do so in the future when I can get my wife to convince me to buy a car, right?
Thank you, Mayor. Tyler, back to you.
What's the biggest challenge facing the next generation of Amsterdam residents?
Mayor Cinquanti, 60 seconds.
My question, right? The biggest challenge is staying united, being together, not causing divisiveness, and not giving up hope, and not looking at your city and saying it's a haven of crime, and not looking at your city and saying people don't care. It's leadership that unites people, and the biggest fear I have is that hate and fear-mongering will turn our city into what they're saying it is and it isn't. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is leadership that unites and governs effectively, doesn't play politics, doesn't play special interests, tries to do the right thing with the right people.
Thank you, Mayor. Pastor Arbige, 60 seconds.
Well, specifically right now, probably the biggest challenge and thing we need to worry about is our water. Our water is our greatest natural resource here in this city. And actually, water is what all cities need, as we know. And we have an incredible water works in Glen Wild up in Saratoga County, town of Providence. And I know for a fact there are 3 employees there, and only 3 employees there, all of whom are nearing the age of retirement. And there is no plan to replace them and to train someone to take their position. And I know this for a fact, and I don't know if people realize all that they do. And if they are not there, we don't have people there who know what they are doing, then our water supply could go down. And well, you laugh, but yeah, it's, what do you talk? I talk to actual employees in this city. That's who I talk to. Okay, because honestly, listen. First of all, this is he keeps he keeps interrupting me. Okay, now one thing I have learned in this campaign, by the way, as I've gone around the city talking to people, is that you don't talk to hardly anybody. Okay, so many people tell me that they try to get in touch with you, they call you, they go to your office, and you don't get back to them. So if you talk to people more, you would know these things. Okay, there you go.
I talked to more people than any mayor, in the history of Amsterdam have I talked to. More.
All right. I think he's talked to certain people more, but yeah, no, I mean,
Pastor Arbige, you can finish.
I don't get out. Wait a second. I don't get out. I'm out there walking the streets every single day. What are you doing? Not one person has told me you've gone to their house. Okay, not one person in the city has told me you've gone to their house. Well, I've gone to almost all the houses in the city. We haven't made it quite yet. We're getting there. But I don't, yeah, whatever.
Thank you, Pastor Arbige. We're back to Doug.
Let's talk guns for a second. The Supreme Court is currently debating New York gun laws that Kathy Hochul has put in place. For both of you, what rights should legal gun owners have? Should they be allowed to carry in anywhere in public, or does Kathy Hochul have it right? No.
Pastor Arbige, 60 seconds.
Yeah, you should be able to carry anywhere in public. Absolutely. That is our Second Amendment right. And it is our Second Amendment that protects our First Amendment, okay? And so every time these people do it, they're always trying to come after our guns, after the ammo. And I know that, you can get a gun, you can get a concealed carry permit, all this, but they make it so difficult on you. And they do everything they can to prevent you from doing it. And then they raise the price of ammunition and all these things to make it difficult. But the answer is yes, you should be able to carry. And it's been proven time and time and time and time again that the more guns you have, the less crime you have, the less guns you have, the more crime you have. So it's common sense. Absolutely. I wish people were carrying right now in here.
Thank you, Pastor Arbige. Mayor Cinquanti, you have 60 seconds.
I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe that responsible adults have the right to carry a firearm. You say too many firearms. The gun that made the shooting in Veterans Park was a legal firearm concealed. I mean, too many guns, not enough guns. They have a right. Legal, responsible adult citizens of the United States have a right to carry a firearm. I do not believe there should be unlimited concealed carry in our country. I do not believe it. I think there's a right to it, but I think only qualified people with a good reason for concealed carry should carry one. And I don't know
what you read, but the more guns do not mean less crime. It just doesn't, or less death. It doesn't mean that. Okay, you read different stuff than I do. I guess that's it, you know?
Thank you, Mayor. So we're going to move now to the lightning round, and we're going to start with Tyler McNeil.
Three reasons why people should visit Amsterdam.
Yeah, we'll start with you, Mayor Cinquanti, and then we're going to go rapidly back and forth from left to right on each one to keep it going.
Our people, our food, and, you know, just fantastic places to visit. Mohawk River, in fact, a lot of things to do here.
I would say our food, our golf course, and this debate right here would have been a great reason to come to Amsterdam, right? Come and watch this.
Thank you very much, Doug.
We got the Halloween parade coming up this weekend. What is your favorite and least favorite Halloween candy?
Mars, I like Milky Ways. I like Milky Ways, and I don't know if I have a least favorite candy. I haven't tried it yet, so.
My favorite would be a Snickers bar, and my least favorite would be candy corn. Too much sugar, too sweet, you know.
Yes or no, should Pride Month be represented at City Hall?
Yes or no? Yes.
No.
In the 250 plus years of this country, who is your favorite and least favorite United States president?
My favorite president is it's Abraham Lincoln, and I would have to say my least favorite president has been Donald Trump.
My favorite is George Washington. My least favorite is Joe Biden.
Okay, so quite a contrast. So what is your favorite moment in Mohawk Valley history? I'll go from like 1700 to like 2000.
You know, I've written 3 books on the history of Amsterdam, and I learned a lot about the history of Amsterdam. And there's a lot of great moments in the history of Amsterdam from 1700 on. But I would have to say the people who engineer our water system. I mean, as far as being in government and understanding the miracle that they performed, I would have to say that's my favorite moment in the history of this city. It showed people who were leaders who created a water system that turned us in, you know, really revolutionized our city. And that's what I would call our favorite moment.
That's a good answer, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think having Kirk Douglas from Amsterdam is kind of cool, too. But yeah, that's good.
You've jumped ahead of me because my next question is my favorite fact of Amsterdam is Kirk Douglas. So wait.
Oh, see?
That said, do you have a favorite Kirk Douglas movie?
I liked a lot of them. I really did. I've seen many of them. The Champion was one of my favorites. I
That's
enjoyed
good.
that a lot.
That's good.
So Kirk Douglas is a little bit before my time. But
So you're not Spartacus. is what you're saying.
I was trying to think of what's this. That's what it's called, Spartacus. Yeah. Now my favorite actor is Jimmy Stewart, though. So he's an old actor too. But yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
What's your pump-up song?
What's my what?
Your pump-up song, like...
We'll get you going.
I just made that up. Yeah.
What's your pump-up song?
What's your pump-up
Into the debate, what did you pump up, what music to get you stoked for this?
There you go.
Mayor,
What's your
you're
favorite
first.
pump-up song? Is you first?
Oh, I'm first.
No, Mayor, you can go first. We're trying to do it left to right every time.
You know, one of my favorite things to do is put on YouTube and listen to classic song, old rock from my childhood. And I got a lot of pump-up songs, believe me. There are too many to mention, but I like Stairway to Heaven. It's one of my favorites.
I I would say like songs that make me feel inspired would be like a soundtrack from, say, Lord of the Rings, something like that. I like a lot.
Just note it wasn't the pastor that said Stairway to Heaven. We've got something weird happening here, am I right? My boss, his favorite thing of Amsterdam is that the Recovery Sports Grill has 50-cent wings on Mondays. He comes quite often and supports Amsterdam. Boneless or bone-in, and what's your go-to flavor?
Well, at the Recovery Sports Bar, which I like to go to, it's outside of Amsterdam, so it's not the favorite thing of Amsterdam. My favorite wings in Amsterdam, there's a lot of places, but I like mild wings. I'm not a spicy person, and I like the Rockland Pub's wings. I like a lot of wings in our city, but I don't like a spicy hot wing.
I would say boneless and barbecue. Just keep it simple.
Thank you.
So we mentioned this earlier, so obviously differing views on this one, but who is, I guess, your favorite public official that you've ever worked with or you've ever known who has represented this area?
I've worked with several that I admire. I respect them all. I work with them well. My favorite, it's hard to narrow it down to one. It really is. I'm a big fan of Michelle Hinchy because we came in together and we see eye to eye on a lot of things. But I've got Neil Breslin. I've got Cindy Barbara. They've been good, loyal friends, good supporters of our city. So I would definitely mention them as well. And I've got Paul Tonko. Paul Tonko's been a huge supporter of our city. Paul Tonko's gotten us more money than just about any representative in Congress or the Assembly ever. So those are my three favorite, I would say.
Well, not to get too personal, but my dad was the first ward alderman for 2 years in Amsterdam, and so he'd be my favorite public official that I know. And Lord willing, when I'm there, I look forward to working with any public official who will work to help Amsterdam out. So.
Thank you, Pastor.
Again, with Halloween coming, do you believe in ghosts?
No, I do not.
I thought I saw a few back there earlier, but no, I don't.
West Side Development, yes or no?
West Side Development, meaning Iroquois Landing, meaning the housing? Yeah.
Mayor, go ahead. You're first.
Yes.
Where is your favorite place to be in New York that's not in Amsterdam?
One of my kids' houses. They all live in New York State, but none of them live in Amsterdam, so I love being with them.
My in-laws' house, I live in Johnstown, and they're right there.
Clean Slate Act, yes or no?
Sorry,
Clean Slate Act?
The Clean Slate Act, yes or no?
Clean Slate Act. Help me. Clean Slate Act is?
Basically when you have, you can have certain portions of your past criminal convictions wiped under certain conditions.
State legislation is what he's talking about.
I don't know enough about that to comment. Whenever I run into a crime issue, the first people I go to are the people who understand it. And I haven't known enough about that to say yes or no to that. It doesn't sound like a good idea, but I'm not going to say yes or no until I've talked to people who know.
I don't know those either, so. But yeah, I would agree. I don't love the idea of doing anything that would kind of be soft on crime. So I'd have to know more about it, though.
Got a little too nerdy with that one.
You're showing off.
Mr. Mayor, can you name a member of the Milwaukee Bucks?
Absolutely. Andre Jackson.
For double jeopardy, Pastor, can you name another member of the Milwaukee Bucks?
Well, I can't pronounce his name, but the Greek freak.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Favorite local sports team without referencing the school? It could be second if that's the case.
So without, not an Amsterdam team, you're saying?
It could be regional, I guess. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I guess the Mohawks then, right? Local, I mean.
Every William team. I love them all.
What's the last TV show you watched that you loved?
My wife makes me watch a lot of shows I don't love.
You can share those if you want to get.
Yellowstone's good. I watch that a lot. I'm a Soprano fanatic. I like Soprano, and I did watch it while I was on the Peloton this morning. So I guess that's the last show I watched that I like.
I think the best show of all time is Psych. So, I love that show. Great show. Absolutely.
Time for 2 more questions now. Tyler?
Biggest pet peeve?
It's the same lightning round question? Okay.
Yep. Being a mayor, it's hearing people complain with no solutions. It's being angry. That's my biggest pet peeve.
So I've always wanted to have a pet peeve so that I could say my pet peeve to that question. But I'm a clean freak. So seeing things that are all untidy and messy and just hate that.
Do you have a motto or phrase that you live by?
No.
Yeah, well, in the Bible, Micah chapter 6, verse 8, God has told us what he requires of man: to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. So right there.
Okay, thank you very much for those great questions. So we've come to the closing statements, and based on a coin toss we did earlier, Pastor Arbige is going to go first, and the Mayor Cinquanti will be second and last.
All right, thank you. I actually totally forgot we were doing a closing statement, so there you go. But again, I'm very happy to be here, and I thank the mayor, thank all of you for being here. And I obviously, what we've heard tonight is 2 different people, 2 different candidates, 2 different visions for what they think Amsterdam should be and how Amsterdam should be governed. I'm, as you all know, the right mic, the sign says it, right? So as opposed to the wrong mic or the left mic, I'm the right mic. And I want to be a mayor that will govern the city in a fiscally conservative way, in a really a conservative way across the board. You know, I know the mayor, again, likes to brag about all things he's done. That we've already talked about the deficit becoming a surplus, had nothing to do with. He mentioned the CDTA buses also, which again, the county did, not him. And while we're at it, you know, maybe we could reroute some of those routes because they don't really make a lot of sense. They run empty, a lot of them. But I just want to be the mayor for everybody in this city. And the more I talk to people, and I have been talking to literally thousands of people in this city, the more I learn, the more I realize that we need a new mayor. The more I realize that we need to be much more transparent, much more open, much more honest, no backroom deals, no doing things on our own like she likes to do. He laughs, but he likes to do it, I know. And if someone ever wants to talk to me, I will absolutely talk to them. If someone tries to call me, I will call them back. If someone comes to my office, I will talk to them, I will meet them, I will listen to them, and I will listen to all the people to determine what we need to do in this city. And I am, again, as a pastor, my whole life is about people. That's what you want in an executive, someone who is good with people, because at the end of the day, it's all about people. So that's what I'm offering to Amsterdam right now, someone who's all about people and someone who is going to get to work day one and work as hard as I can for this city.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
So Richard, ever tried to call me?
2 minutes on the clock, Mayor.
You did about parking in church, and I did respond to you, so yes, you did, faster. You forgot, but that's okay. You did. Again, I want to thank everybody for putting this debate together. you know, the thing that really, it kind of sticks in your craw is when people accuse you of something you're not. And this guy says I'm an elitist and I'm a leftist, and I'm not. When it comes to being the mayor of the city of Amsterdam, I'm right down the middle. I put my head down and I work on the problems that this city is facing, and I work on them, 10 hours a day, and I do it all the time. And I don't, the deficit, fixing the deficit is not an elitist or liberal issue. Getting CDTA in the city is not an elitist or liberal issue. He says I have nothing to do with these things. He has no idea, because he's talking to people who oppose me. He's not talking to people who've worked with me to help me get these things done. And, this constant accusation of just throwing words out by talking to people who don't even understand what they're talking about. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for us as a city. And all I can do is I can promise you that the last 4 years, you compare my record to any mayor on record, and you'll see I've had great accomplishments. I'm proud of what I've done, and I can do more in the next 4. That's what I'm promising you to do. Give you 4 more of what I gave you in the last 4. And if you're, and we'll fix things. But that's the bottom line. I thank you all for coming. I'm humbled. I ask you, I ask you to support me in this next election to continue doing what I've done in the previous 4.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So thanks again, a huge thanks to both the candidates. This is not easy to do this, and this has been very interesting. Thanks again to the panel, and thanks for everybody who set this up in the school district. And it's been a very interesting night, and I think Amsterdam has really got an interesting choice ahead, and I think they'll be well regarded. Thank you. Good night.